and Schwartz. Today I want to talk to you about the topic of mandatory helmet laws. I'm in Delaware right now, and I'm close to Pennsylvania, and I've got a motorcycle endorsement. I haven't ridden a motorcycle in a long time, but I used to. And I remember that when we're out on a ride, we would have our helmets on the bike in Delaware, because you're required to have a helmet on the bike, not on your head. When we would get to the Maryland line, we'd have to stop and put our helmets on, because once you cross the line into Maryland, you have to have the helmet actually on your head. And it's interesting that Maryland has a helmet law that requires a motorcyclist to wear the helmet on his head. Delaware has a helmet law that requires the motorcyclist only to have the helmet on the bike. But there's a push in Delaware to pass new legislation. There's a bill pending in the Delaware General Assembly that would require, if it gets turned into a law, if it gets passed and signed into law, it'll require motorcyclists to wear helmets on their heads, not just have one on the bike. And I wonder what people think about that. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? You know, I think that if you'd asked me 20 years ago if that was a good idea or a bad idea, I would have told you that government has no business intruding into the private affairs of motorcycle riders. And I would have said something like, you know, I enjoy going out and riding a motorcycle. You feel the wind in your hair. There's no better freedom. There's no better feeling of freedom than that. And so I would have been, probably 20 years ago, I probably would have been pretty strictly opposed to it. At this point, though, I pay taxes, pay a lot in taxes, and I don't ride a motorcycle any longer. I'm a personal injury attorney, and usually once you see the carnage of personal injury accidents and wrongful death accidents, you don't really want to be involved in riding motorcycles any longer. But at this point, you know, I'm a taxpayer, and my thoughts on it are that I hate to have a law that limits someone's freedom, but at the same time, if you're in a motorcycle accident and you sustain a head injury, if you're not able to work and you lose your job, you lose your health insurance, you go on Medicaid, you go on Social Security disability, and I pay for you. I pay taxes, and that money is going to go to Medicaid to pay for your medical treatment, which could cost tens of thousands of dollars every month. That money is going to go to the Social Security Administration to pay your Social Security disability, and that's hundreds of dollars every month. And so, you know, I think that at this point, 20 years after I got out of riding motorcycles, you know, I see how interconnected everything is, and I see the consequences not only to people who get catastrophically injured, but I see the consequences for their families. I see the consequences for society as well. And so my point of view now is, you know, I don't think it's such a bad thing to require people to wear helmets. But what I'm more interested in is not what I think. What I'm more interested in is what you think. I'd appreciate it if you have an opinion on this subject. Give us a comment on this Facebook post, on our Facebook post at schwartzandschwartz.com, at facebook.com/schwartzandschwartz, or shoot me an email, ben.schwartz@schwartzandschwartz.com is my email address. I'd be interested to hear what your views are.